Now, treating autoimmune disease is a whole nother complicated thing, and you've probably experienced this through your doctor, because your doctor probably has given you a path that you're supposed to take, but it doesn't necessarily give you a whole lot of confidence that what you're going to do is going to make you feel better, correct? I mean, I would think if you had that confidence, you probably wouldn't be here. Now, the problem is that autoimmune disease has not been really recognized as a group of diseases yet, so there are no real doctors that specialize in autoimmune disease. So a lot of this does come on to us to make sure that we understand what happens during autoimmune disease, and so that we can take the steps necessary to make ourselves feel better. One of the problems with the medical world is that they use pharmaceuticals to treat the symptoms typically, and not necessarily to treat the underlying disease. Now let me give you an example of myself. So I mentioned I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is autoimmune disease of the thyroid. And when I first got diagnosed with a disease, it was called hypothyroid, and my doctor prescribed levothyroxine for me. Now, your thyroid is a very important organ, and it produces hormone that spreads out throughout your whole entire body, that it causes a cascade of things that happen in your body that are very important. If you do not have these varying cascades of things that happen, then you are not going to feel well, and you're going to see a lot of symptoms, and eventually you're just going to get really sick. Typically, people with something like Hashimoto's feel very tired all the time. We get cold hands and feet, and just cold in general. And we have dry skin, you lose your hair. I mean, there's just a plethora of fun little symptoms that you can have when you have this. So the levothyroxine that my doctor prescribed to me was to fulfill two different roles. One was to help quell the symptoms, so I didn't feel so bad anymore. And number two, it was to help my thyroid to produce the hormones that it needed to produce, so that way the cascade of hormones and other things that needed to happen would still happen. It's a very important thing, and I still have to take medicine to this day because I can no longer produce enough hormone. However, the error in my doctor just giving me levothyroxine to make everything better is that it doesn't address the underlying disease. My body still attacked my thyroid. The autoimmune disease continued to go on. That's the problem with a lot of the medicines that doctors give for any autoimmune condition. They address the symptoms and sometimes some of the disease and some of the things that maybe your body can no longer do, like in my instance, produce thyroid hormone. However, the disease still continues, and my body still attacked my thyroid, and I started to feel symptoms again after a period of time. And every month I'd have to go back in and get my levothyroxine adjusted because the disease kept going on and on and on. And unfortunately, when you get to this point in autoimmune disease, you can get multiple autoimmune diseases, or the medicines that you're on will no longer actually help feel relief for your symptoms. And there's just a lot of things that can happen, and you just don't want that to happen. So it really pays to take some measures in your life now to prevent the disease from continuing. When you do this, it not only helps stop the disease and all of the other ramifications that come from you continuing in a disease, but it also helps to stop your symptoms, and it makes you feel fantastic. I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that, right? So in the next video, I give you 3 things you can do right now to start feeling better.